Hi, good morning. Nick Vandekar here, selling the main line in Chester County with Realty One Group Advocates, and I am with Mike Storty of Foxtrot Abstract and Foxtrot Mortgage. Pre-approvals, approval, pre-qualification, all these terms get thrown around. Can you just explain the differences and how long it takes to get really fully approved?
Yeah, and that's actually a great question. And if, again, you line up 100 mortgage people, they're probably going to give you a different answer. I believe a pre-approval is we have all the information we need to underwrite a loan. So we've pulled credit, we have all their income and asset documentation. If they're getting a gift, we're verifying that that gift is real. To me, that's a pre-approval. If you walked into a local bank, they wouldn't even pull credit, not all of them, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't even pull credit, and I've seen the pre-approval letters, and it says, based on what you told me, this is what you would qualify for, right? So I don't think that's a pre-approval. I don't even think that's a pre-qualification. So when you're doing this, if you're a borrower, make sure that you have an approval before you're looking for houses. And the reason for that is, we keep going back to what's going to make your offer look the best, right? So if you have a pre-approval letter, I should use air quotes, if you have a pre-approval letter for a bank that nobody's heard of, and you're competing against somebody like us who's been local in the area for 30 years, and our pre-approval letter says we have everything, the only thing we need to do is get homeowners insurance, title insurance, and sometimes an appraisal. That's going to weigh a lot, or have a lot more weight with a seller than a regular online company would have. So we really take those seriously. And like, for instance, we were talking about conventional loans. So one of the things right now in the market that we're in, where it's very competitive, you could have a pre-approval letter and it just says you're qualified for X, but if you use like somebody like us, we can actually run the property specific to that borrower, specific to that property through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac's automated underwriting system, and we can get something called an appraisal waiver. Okay. So as you know, when you're in a competitive market, everybody else is trying to outbid the next person. Yeah. So then the seller says, hey, it's cool that you guys are offering me X, but I'm really worried that my house isn't going to appraise. Right. So that starts it back and forth, and then the seller is going to want the buyer to guarantee whatever the difference is between the appraisal and the actual sales price. With an appraisal waiver, we'll know ahead of time what won't require an appraisal, which makes your offer basically a cash offer then. Okay. So that's really what we're trying to do, and that's why we want to get all the information ahead of time. We have a great reputation, and when we call the listing agent, they know who we are. We're telling them we have all of the information. We've already run it through underwriting, and again, trying to give your buyers the best opportunity. Your second part of that question was, how long does it take?
Yeah, and I know it's going to be, it depends. It depends on the borrower.
I just heard something yesterday, so I can't work harder than the borrower, right? So if the borrower is not getting us information, we can't issue, I wouldn't issue an approval. Like, for instance, a self-employed borrower, it's complicated in the fact that we have to actually review tax returns. So if we're talking to somebody on the phone, or they finish something online and they say they make X, well, we don't know if they make X. So it's kind of that old junk in, junk out kind of thing. If I say you make $1 million a year and I approve you based on that, but you don't, then what's that pre-approval letter worth? Right. So that's why we get all the information. Well, like, for instance, for us, we have a secure upload link that they can just send their docs, and then we can do it right away. So it's typically 24 hours. Okay. Like worst case scenario to get it from our initial conversation to fully approved, and that's for a self-employed borrower. Okay. Right? We can do a regular one in 10 minutes. I mean, it's just so fast and automated now.